Okay, now that I've had a little bit more time to think about it, and I've actually had one more DMT trip, I'm going to make this video too. And now that I'm not high on DMT, or not to, the residual effects, although I am microdosing on LSD, and I did take a little bit too much today. I'm still a little high, but not much. But that was like 8 hours ago. But anyway, I wanted to kind of give a better description of the DMT trip, and also, actually, I'll break it into two videos. I'll do the DMT trip, and then I'll do the other video later, because they're kind of different. Basically, I'm going to tell you about the trip, and then I'm going to tell you what my impressions are about the trip, as far as like, what I got out of it. It's interesting to note, though, that I've intentionally avoided as much as possible. Of course, you can't avoid 100%, but I've intentionally avoided watching documentaries on DMT. I've avoided reading stuff on it. No, I haven't listened to any podcasts on it. Like, say, Joe Rogan's, I've watched a lot of his stuff, but nothing on DMT. When I see something about DMT, I skip it. And the reason is so, for the most part, I've been able to avoid absorbing a lot of information, because I want it to be, my opinion, to be unbiased as best as possible, right? Because I had never really had the full experience of the drug, and I wanted to come to my own conclusions, not Mike Tyson's, or not Joe Rogan's, or not whatever fucking YouTube video or History Channel documentary, you know what I'm saying? So whatever my opinion is, if you've heard it, it's for the most part, it's going to be because that other person's, or wherever your source is, has something similar, because I probably haven't read or heard of that source. That being said, my first DMT trip was weird because I wasn't sure what to expect. And to tell you the truth, I was kind of underestimated it, because I had tried DMT a few times, but I had never experienced anything like the one. So when I say my first time, I'm talking about like last week. My first time actually doing it correctly. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something mild, or a lot more mild than I thought. And frankly, I'm kind of surprised that as many young people are doing this drug as I've seen, because as much acid as I've done, and like mushrooms, that's basically it as far as psychedelics go. Well, now DMT, like it's a different animal, and it's fucking powerful. But anyway, that's for the other video. Here's my trip. Here's what happened. Okay. See what I'm starting to go into the other video. I'm going to just stick on the trip, and then I'll do the other video later. The trip part was, I don't know. I mean, it was like, they're very hard to explain too, but it was like falling asleep, kind of, right? When I took that hit, I remember kind of feeling like I was about to nod out for a second. And I remember like my vision was kind of like starting to go choppy, like, and I was starting to see kind of things go, kind of like shift around, kind of similar to LSD, but in a different way. But I mean, I was kind of, used to that. I was just like, okay, it's kicking in. So I just relaxed. So I didn't like pass out. I was just like, put my head back. But as soon as I closed my eyes, though, that's when I started to pass out. But what was weird, that I probably didn't mention in the other report, is when I was like kind of going into the trip, I knew that I was still awake. I knew that it was like, I knew that it wasn't like, I don't know, it's kind of like a lucid dream where you're dreaming, but you're still dreaming, but it's like a dream. I know it's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, so I kind of went into that, which is different than LSD, because like if you're on LSD or shrooms or whatever, even if you're really fucking high, or even on a high concentrations, it was like, it wasn't like a dream. It was different. I was aware of the effects, but DMT was more like a dream, because it's hard to explain the difference, but like in a dream, it's more real in a sense. Whereas like if you're tripping on LSD or shrooms or whatever, it's there, and it can be just as intense, but it's not real. Like I can definitely define this is not real. Whereas in the DMT trip, that line was a little more vague, which can be fucking scary. It kind of tripped me out a little bit, because I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's like real, but it's not real. Whereas with LSD, I always knew it wasn't real. Even if it was intense, and even if it was bothersome, even if it was creepy, I knew that was that. Whereas the DMT, because it's more like a dream, it was like almost like a lucid dream, where it was like, wait a minute, am I fucking dreaming here? What is this? What's going on? I've never experienced that before. So that was fucking cool though. I liked it, but it took me a while to kind of adjust my environment because at the same time, things are rushing, these lights and like, again, this is going to be so hard to describe this. And if anybody who's done DMT and has gotten to that level or past that level, so I don't even think it, like I said before, I thought I had a breakthrough. I don't think I did. I think I just startled myself and got close to one. But anyway, I should have done this in more detail when I first did it. But okay, so this is the first trip, the first one that counts. There were like these fucking streamers of tunnels, basically. And I know I said in my other video, but I'm trying to get more descriptive. And they were just like, they were there, and then they were over here. But then if I looked down to a different direction, it was almost like those tunnels didn't exist, and it was something else. See, I'm going to have a hard time explaining the tunnel thing. But I can show pictures of it that was kind of like it, but I can't find exactly what I saw. But it was similar to that. But then there was like, the one thing that was weird was that hobbit. I called it a hobbit. And then I looked up, it's not a hobbit. It's not a hobbit. More like a goblin is what it was. I just couldn't think of what it was. But now that I think about it, fuck, I had a drawing of it. Damn it, I left the drawing in the other room. I wasn't happy with that drawing anyway. But yeah, it was more like a goblin, like the Lord of the Rings guy, the Frodo, my precious, that guy. Something along those lines. It was humanoid, but it wasn't a demon-looking thing. But it was ugly, and it wasn't, I don't know. Fucking goblin, I don't know. Wasn't a gargoyle. Although it kind of looked like a gargoyle, now that I think about it. Okay, we're going to do like a gargoyle / goblin. If they had a kid. Something like that. It's kind of like a gremlin. Maybe. I don't know. Something like that. Anyway, that kind of tripped me out because that was something that I could see. It was like, I could see its form. I could see details on it. Like on LSD, when I've seen things like that, which is rare, but if I did, it was like, you call it it was kind of like a peripheral shit, right? Or it'd be like within a group of trees I might see something, right? There's shapes that were around something that made something appear like something, a shadow monsters, or real shadows, right? But at a certain angle, or it's like in the periphery of your eye, they tend to take on its own form. This was different. This was vivid. It was there, right? There's nothing around it. It was an image. It was like this, right? It was a hard object that I could see, which again, I've never really seen something that close. Or yeah, I don't think so. That and the fact that I knew I was under DMT and I know that I was high, but it was so real around me. It was just like, this is a fucking dream. What can I do with this? And I tried to fuck with it a little bit. That goblin thingy, gremlin, whatever we call it. That when it spoke to me, that was weird too, because then I'm like, okay, this is like a dream, because in LSD I might have heard things, or things may have sounded differently, but with DMT it was like specific. It was like me talking to you right now on this camera. It was like hard, like because it was so real. Then I was like, okay, this is a dream. This DMT. Now I'm dreaming, and when it said something like, so you're back again, or we meet again. That's what it said. Something like that. We meet again. And it was just like, because it was like, I know in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is a dream. So, but I'm conscious enough, because it's a lucid dream, where I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to say to myself? This is just a reflection of me, and I didn't get anywhere with it. I don't remember what I said now. If I even said anything, because now I can't tell if I'm speaking or if I'm thinking, and it knows my thoughts because it's me. I don't fucking know. So I was just like, I'm more just observing, but then I was like distracted by these tunnels that kept going, and I wanted to go to one way, and this surprised me too. Then the thing stretched out and like hooked me when I wasn't like focusing on it anymore. Oh, by the way, when I focused on it, and I have had this in other hallucinations, when you hallucinate something, you focus on it, it tends to kind of like not concentrate, right? So it's like you can't see it. The harder, if you look at it directly, it'll kind of morph a little bit, and then if you kind of look over to the side, then it'll kind of bring back to shape. That's part of a hallucination thing that, I don't know, I've seen that a lot of times. So it kind of did that, and so when it did that, then it like hooked me in the ear, and that kind of startled me, because I'm not, I mean, we've all felt pain, like, right, and like what do you call it? Like dreams, right? You know, you fall in and you hurt yourself, whatever, it hurts, right? And you know, it's real pain, right? Well, that was real pain too. That was hurtful. It hurt my ear, and it kind of snapped me out of the trip a little bit because it was like, whoa, you know. And then I started realizing that I couldn't tell if I was breathing anymore when he did that, and I was just like, and then I started thinking, fuck, am I breathing? And that kind of scared me to like, not an anxiety attack, but it scared me enough to kind of like, okay, this is enough. I should probably get out of it. But then when I couldn't quite get out of it, it was like sleep paralysis. That was trippy too, because I knew I was in a dream. Now I'm like lucid dreaming and seeing vivid images of dreams, like whatever, right? But now it's like sleep paralysis too, and I can't get up. And we've all probably had that before. I've had that, but I don't suffer from it. It doesn't happen very often. But so that was kind of trippy. So that, you know, I wasn't sure. That was really cool though. I mean, and then waking up and like when I pulled out of it, it's like for the first few minutes, it seemed like a long time, but watching the video of myself, it could have been more than a few minutes. But it was like looking around and it was like everything just looked fucking weird, like kind of like LSD, like a lot on a high dose of LSD though, like not a couple hits. No, I'm talking many hits, like at least 5 or 10, which I've only done a few times, but hard like that. Whereas like looking at something, it was just like, wow, that is just. We're not talking breathing and, you know, pulsing or tracers or shadows going like this. No, it was like I can't even explain it. They're like bricks, like across whatever I looked at was like bricking apart and stuff, and like kind of scattering, and then would come back on itself. Fucking cool. That part was fucking awesome. Looking at my hand, and my hand was just like robotic and like digital, almost like Matrix shit. Then the harder, but it wore off kind of fast. But it was like that part was fucking cool. Okay, done with that one for the most part. That's as much as I can remember that I didn't already add. Second one for the next video, because I was sorry, 12 minutes.
Is God in show business too?